Some ideas are so common, so repeated, that nobody bothers to check if they're actually true anymore. They get passed down in schools, movies, conversations until they feel like facts, but a lot of them are wrong. So let's break some of these myths down. Dogs only see black and white. Dogs do not see in black and white. They have limited color vision compared to humans, mostly blues and yellows, but they still perceive color. Their vision is actually comparable to a person with red-green color blindness, not a gray world, just a shifted one. Lightning never strikes the same place twice. Let's just say that it absolutely does. Tall structures like skyscrapers and radio towers can get hit repeatedly in a single storm season. Lightning follows paths of least resistance, and if something is a good target, it will be hit again. The Empire State Building alone gets struck around 20 to 25 times every year. Camels store water in their humps. Camels actually store fat in their humps, not water. That fat can be metabolized into energy and even water internally, but the hump itself is not a water tank. What actually helps camels survive the desert is their ability to tolerate extreme dehydration and then drink enormous amounts of water in one go, up to 30 gallons at a time. Bulls hate the color red. This one is purely theatrical. Bulls don't react to red, they react to movement. In bullfighting, it's actually the motion of the cape that triggers them, not the color. Bulls are also partially colorblind, so red doesn't stand out the way people think it does. If you stood still holding a red cloth, the bull would most likely ignore it entirely. Alcohol keeps you warm. Alcohol actually lowers your core body temperature. It causes blood vessels near the skin to dilate, which creates a sensation of warmth, but that warmth is actually heat escaping from your body. Drinking alcohol in cold weather can accelerate heat loss and increase the risk of hypothermia, not protect against it. We inhale spiders while sleeping. There's simply no evidence for this. Actually, it's quite the opposite. When we sleep, we move around and breathe, creating vibrations which spiders tend to avoid. Spiders also have little reason to approach a large, warm, breathing creature. The idea has no biological or observational backing. It's just a myth that's spread because it sounds creepy. We only use 10% of our brain. This idea shows up everywhere, from movies to motivational speeches, but it's completely false. We actually use almost every part of our brain, just not all at the same time. Brain scans show activity across the whole brain depending on what you're doing. If 90% of your brain were useless, injuries wouldn't cause so many different effects. The truth is simpler. Your brain is always working, just in different regions at different moments. Bats are blind. Bats are not blind at all. Most species actually have decent vision, and they use it along with echolocation. Echolocation is like a built-in sonar system. They emit sounds and interpret the echoes to navigate in the dark, but vision still plays a role, especially for spotting larger objects and orienting at longer distances. The idea that bats are blind is just a long-standing exaggeration that's stuck. Napoleon was very short. Napoleon was actually around 5 feet 6 inches tall, which was average for a French man of his time. The confusion partly comes from a difference between French and English measurement units. His height was recorded in French inches, which are longer than English ones. British propaganda also played a role, deliberately portraying him as small to mock and undermine him. If you touch a baby bird, the mother will reject it. Most birds rely on smell far less than people think, and many will continue caring for their chicks even after human contact. That said, unnecessary handling is still a bad idea. The stress alone can be harmful, and repeated disturbance can cause some species to abandon the nest. Reading in dim light damages your eyes. Reading in low light can cause eye strain, fatigue, and headaches, but it does not cause any permanent damage to your eyes. Your eyes are not harmed by working harder in difficult conditions. They simply get tired, just like any other muscle. The strain goes away once you rest them. Carrots improve your eyesight. Carrots won't give you superhuman vision or fix poor eyesight. They do contain vitamin A, which is important for eye health, but only prevents deterioration in people who are severely deficient. The myth was actually deliberately spread by the British Royal Air Force during World War II to hide the fact that they were using radar to spot enemy planes at night. The Great Wall of China is visible from space. Astronauts have repeatedly confirmed you cannot see the Great Wall from space with the naked eye. It's incredibly long, but only about 5 to 8 meters wide, far too narrow to spot from low Earth orbit. Even from the International Space Station, it's not distinguishable. This myth appeared in print as early as 1932, decades before anyone had even been to space. Waking a sleepwalker is dangerous. Many of you won't know this, but waking a sleepwalker won't cause them a heart attack or severe psychological trauma. They may be confused, disoriented, or briefly distressed, but that's it. The real danger is actually leaving them to sleepwalk, since they can injure themselves on furniture, stairs, or by going outside. Gently guiding them back to bed is the recommended approach, but waking them is fine if needed. Cold weather causes colds. Colds are caused by viruses, not temperature. Cold weather may push people indoors, increasing close contact and making it easier for viruses to spread, but the temperature itself is not what makes you sick. Sharks must keep moving or they die. Not all sharks need constant movement. Some species can rest and even breathe while stationary by actively pumping water over their gills. The idea really only applies to a handful of species like the great white, which rely on forward motion to breathe. For most sharks, it's simply not true. Fish have a short memory and don't feel pain. Both parts of this are outdated. Fish have been shown to remember things for months and can learn from experience. On pain, fish have nociceptors, the nerve endings used to detect harmful stimuli, and display behavioral responses to injury consistent with pain perception. The idea that fish don't feel was largely a convenient assumption rather than a scientific conclusion. So, as it turns out, a lot of what we think we know comes from repetition, not reality. The interesting part isn't just correcting them. It's realizing how easily misinformation becomes common sense when nobody questions it. Next time you hear something that sounds like a fact, it's worth asking, where did that actually come from? Because sometimes the truth is way more interesting than the myth.